Action. So, welcome to Leadership and Governance Committee meeting. Thank you for all attending. I presume that the Mayor will be coming on shortly. Thank you. Welcome to live streamers and everybody else. Thank you. So we have everybody present. And no apologies. No. So do we need leaves of absence? No. Thank you. So we go to the confirmation of the minutes of previous meeting held on the 22nd of January 19, which you will notice. Thank you to Mayor Hayes for chairing that meeting. I was away. Have somebody move that they be drilled the record, please. Thank you, Councillor Nixon, seconded. Second by Councillor Brennan, all in favour. Thank you. Business arising out of those minutes? No.
One comment, Madam Chair. Councillor Bell raised the general business report on external consultants and contractors. And you did receive a report back in October last year. We're doing a revision of that and providing some more relevant data to council information. So that will be up here in the month or
so. That will be all right. So that will come to us. Thank you. So we go to the review of the outstanding meeting actions. And just on the first one there, from August last year, raised the need to revise and update the current drought policy. Can I just say that or ask Councillor Bell if your intention was just for our local internal regional drought, or should it be informed by the federal and state government drought information?
Oh, just the local. And that includes the drought policy in regards to water restrictions, water use. I think, Chair, if the last meeting we discussed wording that is in conflict in regards to the one which the policy has been implemented at Capella and other places since its inception. And also when the media and communication strategy went out about Emerald, there's massive confusion. Everywhere I go, the optometrist, shopping centre, people can't understand what alternate days mean, which is a replication out of our drought policy, where this is not the way we allow people to water. We water on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, Monday's a free day. We don't work on alternate days. So there needs to be a whole change in wording, and then also I think there needs to be a review of how the policy does affect all communities and other communities. So at the moment I don't think theory is being implicated into the recent arrangements officially, but yet it's a part and fed out of the stream off the Fairbairn Dam, and should have been, people there should have been aware and aligned with what was implemented for Blackwater and Emerald at the same time. If you're going to have a policy that talks about all those communities that are fed from the Fairburn policy means this at this particular point, but that still hasn't happened. So there are maybe there's a number of reasons for that, too short they are. The other thing is that when you look at the retention of the water that's in the Fairburn at the moment, even at 13.2% or whatever we are today, at least, there's still about 160,000 megalitres of water in there. We use 5,500 megalitres. So even if there was no rain for the next 2 years, I would imagine that us industry would be fairly well supported. So I don't know whether the trigger points are right, and I think that the Mayor might say that there is some work being done on policy, those sorts of policy positions. But the drought policy itself just seems to me to be been a good policy we've introduced. It's been there for a long time now, and things have changed in the way in which we've implemented normal procedures for, say, sharing water and using water. And that is the Monday no water, for instance, is not recognised in the drought policy. But that is now a normal practice, which has been embedded now for about the last 10 years or so. So I think there's a bit of out of kilter there, probably time to review. It's not the sort of thing you can review in the middle of the drought and do really well, because you need to I think we need to progress with what we've got, and it's hard to change these policies. You shouldn't be changing these policies probably midstream, but there needed to be a review of that, and then the way in which we interact with our rural and rural communities as well. One of the issues of drought policy that has never been sort of sorted to, I think, a comfortable position is that of the Willows community that has one big dam and 2 or 3 small dams, and is having problems now with its pump and green blue algae or possible algae blooms, and God knows what else. But what is the drought process? And in the past, we've seen state government pick up the tab for those things, but are they, if that doesn't happen, what else happens? So what are the triggers? So there's a few things that probably just need to be revisited and reviewed in regards to the urban communities. Those communities fed out of the Fairburn Dam. Councillor Nixon's brought up a number of occasions about how we actually test the bores at Springshaw and their depletion, or whatever, due to drought and those drought conditions. But we haven't never had those tested and seen what reliability they can give. And so they're the sorts of things that need to be done physically, as well as I think we need to work through a new policy, which is one that's going to be all encompassing. We need to also then just look at what is government reaction then to drought. There's been some new conditions, positions taken by the federal government and state government, and then I think also, it's just with our local industry people, what they think, how you respond. So I think that needs to happen on, the drought policy should not just be about water, it should be about then also how we also react to positions in different industries.
So is that that's a body of work that could go to strategy?
So, through you, Madam Chair, Councillor Bell, when you refer to drought management policy, that's the drought management plan from October 2009. That's why it's marked up for the
That's the old one, yeah.
Okay.
And that gets water, but it's still, I think, antiquated and outdated.
Yeah.
I think we agree that, those numbers, the wording, everything in there is untidy, and if you try and put that drought management plan up on the web page, it conflicts with the way in which we actually apply water restrictions. So the words are different, and everyone gets confused that, can I use my water? Because we did talk about people can sprinkle on alternate days, and then if it's a 14-day period, alternate days means I get 7 days watering out of 14. We have absence on every Monday, so we don't actually get 14 days watering opportunities anyway. So but that's not what alternate days sounds like, or particularly if you're a bush dweller, which most of ASAR. So, yeah, so there's a whole heap of conflicting words, and it's very hard now, it's almost impossible to put our drought management plan up on the website with restrictions that we're trying to apply because they conflict.
Oh,
Just the wording.
Thank you.
Yeah, it might just change that wording in the access report to reflect this drought management plan. So
Yeah, sure.
it's not a
Thanks.
policy, it's not a governance type policy, so it's legal document.
And the other one was, the next one about the, contact made with CQU, with regards to, smart city opportunities. And the second one there. My question is, since there's been, a change of leadership out at CQU, whether CQU has indicated that they would respond to this request. Has there been any, and also since that's been on there for 12 months now, that there's through other avenues that we've talked about smart city technology advances, etc. You know, things like even this morning talking about the airport and the Wi-Fi and data collection and sort of thing at the airport, the sale yards talking about putting an app, having an application out there for weights and sale prices, etc. So there's developments all along. There's a whole heap of developments in roads and transport as well. So I wonder whether the CQU should be contacted and of the new, of the new regime out there,
Anita Milroy, Social Vice Chancellor.
So, yeah, whether there could be an advance, some sort of contact made, please, to bring that forward as well. Anything else on the outstanding actions? Straightforward.
Procedural.
Yep. Okay, so we move to the review of upcoming agenda items. Anything there? That's why I've got a paper copy.
Yeah.
Anything there that needs attention?
Madam Chair.
Just I have a question with the legislative compliance status update. Powers deferred, so.
Next Monday, you've got that workshop with King & Co. Not sure what time it starts. Jim Fines Clinton, as far as I know, will be here to present and discuss and answer questions, probably more so answer questions about how that new legislation affects you, especially in chambers.
Yes, that one will relate to councillors themselves, but this is environmental compliance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which one are you looking
I'm looking at number 8.
at? I'll have to change that up, you know. I'll have a look at that one, Councillor Greville.
Okay.
Because the next one is the audit reports was to come to, is that all part of the whole report?
Committee.
Yeah. So it'll come to later, because we've got an audit committee meeting
Next week.
next week,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
We'll come back to the next month.
I don't know whether, this is the right time to bring this up, but one of the options could be utilised by council is for us as the committee, the government committee, to review some of the issues that were brought out in our discussions yesterday morning, particularly those in regards to policy. I think this is probably the right committee to look at that, and we could ask council this afternoon whether they agree, but I think if the policy register was brought to us and we could review then a policy register review timeframe, so at each meeting we might be able to do policies on staff policies and on purchasing policies and whatever, and review those to make sure that they're current and that there's nothing that is outstanding, and that we're maintaining our policy register without having, I suppose, any leakages or slippage in that regard. So that's something I'd like to see if we could just bring to the next meeting. It's just a whole policy list of what are our policies, and that's probably a 5-page document. But bring that to us as well, so we can start to look at how we can break that up into a proper policy review process, and we could do that then and have sent to the council if there are any places that we see a need to either accelerate policy review or where there might be no policy position placed there at all. We'll identify that as well. And the second part is just in regards to compliance. I think that's the other area we certainly want to be involved in, and that might just link following on from Councillor Rimblecomb's question, is that if maybe for the April meeting we should have a look at our compliance register and then see where we're doing that, and understanding that local government's compliance regime is absolutely huge. The numbers of departments, the number of regulatory compliance areas that we do comply, but are we meeting our environmental compliance personally and in our own organisation, and are all our compliance registers and arrangements in place? But then also, are we meeting other Act requirements as a regulator, and then also then as well as in the way in which we operate. So I don't know whether that's done, or I'll need to hand over to Mr. Ferguson, but I don't know whether you've seen that done in other places. We do it in organisations, and companies and groups that I'm in. You have a compliance register and you review that 6 monthly, but if you can have a look around and see what's around. Maybe in April.
I have seen it before. I'm not sure what Central Highlands has in place at present. Certainly that policy register and schedule of updates, that's clear from the workshop yesterday that will, if it's not already in place, it will be developed and shared with council. But the compliance register makes a lot of sense to me. It's just part of your internal risk audit process. So yeah, I'll follow up on that one to see what might be out there.
It should fall on top of the audit should see it every 6 months anyway, but we could have a look at that.
So that's if it's part of the internal audit process, it'll come through, it should come through our audit committee, because we have an internal auditor. So
Chair, I don't know if the internal auditor has been tasked with creating
no,
register. Probably not. I'm not sure if anything exists. Each department should have their own place, but I'm just not sure. The organisation.
So
Is that with me on homework on?
I suppose things like if you've got a spear in the river, in the old days, you used to do it, and you used to pump water out the river and off you went and put it in a tank and just kept wetting the roads up. But as you know now, you have to have bund walls, you have to have, the compliance to actually have a new watering point put into on a creek or a stream is probably in the tune of about 100 grand now. By the time you do no toll search, you then start to build your bund walls, you put your stuff in position. So those sorts of compliances, are we meeting, are we doing, is that part of the organisation rolling out of, that's the way we treat those particular, and are we being exposed? We've only seen exposures in non-compliance, and that's been through contractor events mainly, about clearing of veg in areas where there's been a veg, and that's cost the council hundreds of thousands of dollars in compensation. So I think these sorts of registers and our compliance to them now are significant. And particularly with, I think, the moves towards, the issues that can happen within safety. I see today there's a small business being charged, and two operators, both operators of this business, a roofing business, being charged for some work towards it's a manslaughter, that happens in business, but it's also the proprietors of the organisation. They didn't provide enough flow down the line to ensure that the workers are safe. Now, I mean, that requirement coming back to us, and that is another issue. Are we providing our organisation and our employees the right resources, the right training to ensure that they go home safe and they go home the way they came to work, that's safe and whole. But also that if something did happen, that we've actually implemented the policy and process, and that the council laws and CEO for industrial manslaughter or industrial action that could happen through an action that slip through the cracks. And I think that's what people are saying today. Oh, people didn't do this because people didn't adhere to safety procedures. If they weren't trained in it, they weren't made do it, and it wasn't enforced. Who's actually responsible? So there's a whole lot of regulation out there at the moment that is, I'm not too sure whether we're meeting it, but sometimes keeping me awake at night.
Will do. Thank you.
So that's not March, that's April.
Yeah. So do we have any petitions?
No.
Any material personal interest, conflict of interest, personal gifts and benefits? No? Okay, we'll go on to the corporate services.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tanya Rouse, our Manager of Human Resources, is here in the room with us today to give you the bi-monthly workforce statistics report.
Thanks, Sonia.
So I think everyone has a copy of that in their agenda anyway. So not a great deal of change as per most bi-monthly reports. We have slight percentage changes in our age demographic, which is, I guess it's a good sign for our Gen Zs. We've got quite an increase from our last report there, from 26 to 33. So that probably has a lot to do with our trainee intake. That's just happened this month. But it's good that our under 40s have increased in numbers, so that's a good thing. So we're starting to get a little bit more interest, hopefully, with our recruitment in that younger age bracket. With the age demographic, as I've said in the last few months, the customer service team with the business improvement officer are working on our knowledge capture system. So they're actually looking at bringing in a system so that we can make sure that we're not losing any of that knowledge as it walks out the door. We have had 2 interested transition from to retirements come to us to scale back to work part-time to start that transition of knowledge, which is great. So that's starting to become a little bit more accepted, I guess, across the organisation slowly, with people transitioning out. So that's good for us. There's not been a lot of change.
Is that a new part of our EBA?
It's not new. It's still in the EBA. It's just that there's been a lot more communication around it with the new certified agreement that's come out. Yeah. So it's been in there previously, but we haven't had a lot of uptake. But I think this time around, because we've been out talking to a lot more people, they are understanding of what it is and it's how useful it is, I guess, for them as well. So that's really been good.
Just on that flexibility, we had any take up in regards to flexibility about people staying at home and having to come here?
We certainly have. So we've had internally, I guess the uptake has been a lot more for internal staff, moving from the 19-day month to a 9-day fortnight, having a long weekend in the middle of the fortnight, so having a Friday and Monday off. There's been a lot of that within teams internally. So we've probably had, I think it's up around 40 people have taken up that change from the 19-day month to the 9-day fortnight option. And all the managers have been really transparent and open to talk about all the different options. We have got more people working from home. I think we've got 3 more people that are doing parts of working from home and still working within council. So we certainly have had a lot of interest in that flexible work arrangements, definitely. We haven't had a lot from outside, from external staff as yet. Certainly, definitely inside staff.
Good. I think that flexibility will make us a bit more attractive.
Yes.
So with that flexibility, if you're working within a team, as in a road crew, how does that flexibility work then?
Yeah, so it's got to work with the crew more for the outside stuff, and it's the same inside. They have to work within their team to ensure that we've still got coverage. So they just work out who's having which days in the 9-day off. They don't all have the same day, whereas the outside crews do all have the same day. So their flexibility needs to be worked within their team. So we haven't, that's probably why we haven't had a lot come in from the outside teams as yet. There's probably not a lot else. Our turnover rate, obviously, it increases as the year goes on. We've moved from the last report, we were at 7%, so we're up to 11% now. Now we've got 5 months to go. I think we're going to come in under, last year, which is great. I think we've got a lot more, since the certified agreements come in and with the flexible work arrangements, etc., we've seen a little bit of a flattened line on that turnover. So I think people are feeling a little bit more appreciated and taking the time, I guess, to understand more about the flexibility and working here. And so we haven't had a spike, but then we have looked at, generally each year over the December-January period is when we do have a spike in resignations. It's that, changes of school year, etc. This year we've been pretty good. We've been quite level for December and January, which is great. I guess another one of the statistics there is our absence management, our sick leave taken has dropped since the last report, just by 1%, but it's still a drop. So that could be because of the Christmas period where a lot of people have been off on annual leave, but we're still going to look at that as a positive. That in the last 2 months, that percentage has dropped down a little bit. So that's good.
And it's a question you probably can't answer, but your whole organisation days, do you think that's helped as far as people's knowledge? Or?
I think so, and that's just from the feedback that I've heard around the organisation, people talking about the whole organisation day and the information they got out of it. And it's also triggered a lot more questions. We got a lot of questions at WUDA that we have provided answers to a lot of people, just around basic things that you would think that they would normally come and talk to you about, but they haven't. So we've done a lot of, I guess, communications around answering people's questions. And I really do think it's a great day to have, because a lot of people learnt a lot of things about the whole organisation rather than just their little area. So I have had some really good feedback from what people have said, just from people talking about it. We haven't sent anything out officially to get feedback, but it seems like it goes over quite well that day. And we had better attendance this year than we did last year at the day. So hopefully as we go along, we'll get more. It is a compulsory day, but we still have people that are sick on that day. So we had better attendance this year. And I guess just the last one that I wanted to highlight was just that training data that's on the last page. Just to show that, our training is still, even though it was in December when we have a lot of people not here, we're rolling training out there just for our mandatory first aid CPR. And a lot of our plant ticket training, which is what our area generally rolls out. Majority of the time, we do some big corporate training, but ours is, these, as you can see, are based primarily on the mandatory training for the outside staff rather than professional development. So that's what that report shows is the mandatory training that we're rolling out. So that's about it. If anyone's got any questions.
No questions. Just an observation, like that turnover by department,
Yes.
percentage rates sometimes skew small numbers, like the CEO's department.
Yeah, it does, exactly, because it's a comparison on the amount of numbers per
Yeah.
department. So it will look higher. Sorry,
I just wonder if there's another way of showing it, that's all.
we can show it by numbers instead of by percentage.
Yeah,
If
you
you
got,
just want
you only got 10
fewer
people,
numbers.
2 leave, you're, 5 leave, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
aren't you?
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got 50 leave,
Yeah, I did notice that.
200 of them. That's not
Yeah.
bad. So I just
So
think,
change that to, instead of percentages, just to put it per,
I think those
just
numbers would be
numbers?
better.
Numbers. and then even when you look at numbers though, you look at infrastructures, that's why they've got the biggest, so they're obviously gonna have a lot more.
I think that you look at the infrastructure numbers, don't you, somewhere else, so you flick back and have a look at that, or at least I can have a look at the outside workforces.
Yeah,
And
and
look
the
at 168
communities,
plus 83, and I can work that out if you,
yeah,
there's 50 movement from there. I can see that.
yeah, that's fine, I can do that for the next report.
Just with training data, what's the process of people getting tickets or competencies or as in chemical accreditation, that sort of thing? What's the process there?
So if, from our perspective in the training area, we are given training application forms, which come through from each supervisor and manager of the departments. So we can, all of the mandatory requirements should be in the position descriptions for the PDs, and that's how we do our refreshers, etc., based on reporting that we get out over the year. But if people want new competencies, then they have to get that approval through their line managers before it comes to HR. So we organise the training, we don't make the decisions on who gets what. Yeah, so we making sure that our mandatories are covered. We've got currently a project going with Workplace Health and Safety with Scott Kendrick around the gaps that we might have in the organisation around mandatory training, but there's also those things where people, it's hard within crews to know who needs what tickets. So how many grader tickets do you need in a crew, how many rollers, how many, when you only have one grader and one roller. So there's, it's a little bit skewed sometimes with people's, they want a ticket for everything. And that'd be great if we could afford to keep everybody's tickets and upgrade it, but we've got to look at our budget. But as it sits at the moment, it's the decision of the department who gets what training, unless it's mandatory, of course.
So you've got a mandatory ticket happening as far as say chemical application, like say CDC. You'll also look, say you've got a range of trainees that are coming. You look at, yes, they'll need a ticket. You put that in with that course, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do one rollout. So we have a database, and we can see how many people across the organisation need that training. It's not done individually, so we always make sure that we have a class or put them into a course that someone else is running externally. So yeah, it's certainly not based just on a crew or a department. It's
Not just on applications, but on needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just congratulate the exit interview information we're now getting. It was interesting, yesterday we spoke about some other issues in some future planning stuff, and then we talked about parking facilities in the CBD area in Wimbledon. I just see that, when you look at the number of people that were dissatisfied with parking, I'd imagine there weren't people from Jeringa or
Yeah.
Blackwater, but up here. And And it's quite, I mean, it's one of the highest areas of dissatisfaction we've got. So some of that's really interesting to watch and to understand from a council point of view, policy setting, thinking as well. But I just thought that was, I think some of the exits, the interpersonal relationships and other things are probably more important for the ELT, the egg lettuce and tomatoes, the ELT. Where it's about interpersonal relationships between managers and whatever. But certainly the exit surveys about job roles and those work environment stuff is really important for us to look at occasions. I like the way it's presented, it's very good.
Yeah.
And the reasons for exiting too, that's helpful.
Yeah, we're still working on the exit interview process because we still have a lot of people that just aren't interested in giving us any information. We did look into, I think it was you, Councillor Bell, that suggested we get an external company to do the calls. We've contacted a couple of companies, however, there's not a lot of, we did a bit of a local government survey, of course we've got a chat group, and a lot of the feedback we got from them is that they don't use that because they were getting charged a whole lot of money and not getting any feedback, and people just don't, they say no, hang the phone up. So we've got to come up with another idea. We'll certainly keep working on that. With the implementation of Tech One, there's a program in the system where we might be able to do that. But again, it's about that getting everyone on board with the technology and using electronic means to get that data. But it's certainly available in there, and we'll like to roll it out. So it'll be something that we'll just continue to push out to people to get them to get used to using technology. I think online it's because we do send out the surveys, but a lot of people just don't return them. They don't put them in.
I think that feedback plus all the staff surveys and the results of those make it very helpful to understand how healthy the organisation is, how people are seeing it in regards to a good place to be, and quite often, as you know, you get people who are there for the right reason, they're going to a better job or they're going to somewhere where the family needs to take on or something. So, they're all good reasons for those people. But I think it's if you look at this one and you look at the staff survey stuff, you start to look it through. You start to see the health of the organisation, and where we can continue to compete in that job market with some of the big corporates around the place, which is cash versus lifestyle, good place to be, not good environment to work in. So things like safety, flexibility, all those are really important.
So can somebody move that we receive the bi-monthly workforce statistics report, please? Councillor Brennan, second Councillor Nixon, all in favour? Thank you.
A little hand there.
No, hang on.
No, I meant to call to order. I meant to call to order. To control.
So, is there any general business? Well, I shall, thank you everybody, I shall close the meeting.
Thank you. You just take the record.
Yes.